Hey folks, and welcome back to another video from D1 DLC, and today we're going to take a look at just how much of a difference a $500 Ryzen CPU makes compared to a $300 CPU. Are you paying too much for your editing, gaming and streaming rigs? Let's find out, but first, you know who isn't paying too much? Shoppers at Dream PC. Dream PC is an elite custom PC builder right here in South Australia. They specialise in building your ideal PC, be it for gaming, 3D rendering, video editing or even just browsing the web. Check them out today at dreampc.com.au. Okay, so recently we built two systems based off the Ryzen 7 3700X retailing for around about 500 Aussie dollars and the Ryzen 5 3600, which you can get for just over 300 Aussie dollars depending on sales. With more cores, a faster boost clock and more L2 cache, this should have been a no-brainer, right? Well, let's run through our test bench and get stuck into some results and see if that extra 200 to 300 beer tokens are actually worth it. For these tests we use our test bench, which comprised of the Asus Strix X570F Gaming AM4 motherboard, Corsair 16GB 3600MHz C18 RAM, EVGA GeForce RTX 2060 Super, Corsair AX850 power supply, an ADATA NVMe M2 SSD, and the Fractal Celsius 360 Blackout CPU cooler. Okay, with that out of the way, let's jump into some test results. Now, just to be clear, we run a cross-section of synthetic and gaming benchmarks to give you a rough idea on how performance differs from workstation workloads to in-game performance. We're aware that the gaming benchmarks and the majority of the results are determined based on graphics cards, but hey, we're here for science, and we love gaming, so let's get into it. First off, we'll look at synthetic benchmarks with the likes of Cinebench, Blender, Geekbench and Realbench, all of which you can grab yourself right now and compare your CPU score with ours. But today, we're more worried about putting these two into the ring and seeing who comes out on top. First up, Blender. And we can see that the 3700X is just in front of the 3600 for our BMW, Firecat and Classroom test renders. And when I say just in front, I mean by a difference of 1 to 5%, so not a lot in it at all. Next we'll take a look at Geekbench, single and multi-core scores. Now don't worry too much about the scores themselves, it's just more points is better. Here we see the 3700X pull ahead a bit on both fronts with the 20% improvement in the multi-core processing and just 1.7% on single core processing. Somewhat expected based on the additional 2 cores going to the 3700X. On to Realbench now, and we can see that the 3700X pulls in front on heavy multitasking and encoding. The two trade blows though on image editing, and the 3600 even pulls in front in OpenCL. Now, CSoft Sandra further enforces the previous results with the 3700X taking the honours on all fronts, and in most cases by a reasonable margin. And to round out our synthetic benchmarks, Cinebench R20 gives us a great representation of where these two CPUs sit in terms of synthetics. The 3700X is in front by a healthy 37%. So it looks like we're seeing loads of extra performance more often than not from the 3700X, right? Well, how about we take a look at a couple of real world tests just to see how much of a difference those synthetic numbers actually make. In Magix Movie Edit Pro, we pumped out a 1-minute video render to see which of the two CPUs fared better. As it turns out, all those synthetic benchmarks converted to roughly a 15% increase in performance for video rendering. Not too bad. In this case, that equates to around about 9 seconds of saved time per 1 minute of render. Okay, so work-wise, the 3700X is sitting pretty for now, but let's see how we go in some game benchmarks. First up, we've got Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and we can see some surprising results now. 1080p shows the 3700X in front by just 1 frame, basically margin of error territory. 2K we have a dead heat, and shockingly in 4K the 3600 actually pulls in front by a full 4 frames. On to Borderlands 3, and we have a dead heat again on all 3 fronts, 4K, 2K and 1080p, all within a margin of error. And lastly we'll check out World War Z, and here we finally see the 3700X jump in front marginally across the board, but not by much at all. Okay, so based on our results, we can see from the workstation perspective, those extra cores and slightly faster boost clock and L2 cache give the 3700X a healthy lead. Depending on the type of application you'll be using, you can enjoy as much as 37% boost. Gaming on the other hand, these two CPUs trade punches all day long with virtually nothing separating the two. So based on pure stats, the 3700X is our winner, but that's not the end of the story. While yes, the 3700X is in front on most of our tests in everyday usage, and in particular in video rendering with applications like Magic Movie Edit Pro, we see maybe a 15% increase in performance, which seems more reflective of the CPU's actual output under normal circumstances. Now couple that with an on-par gaming experience across 1080p, 2K and even 4K gaming, it puts these CPUs far closer together. So let's consider the price difference. At the time of recording, an AMD Ryzen 5 3600 CPU is retailing from around 329 Aussie dollars, while the 3700X goes for approximately 559 Aussie dollars. That's a price increase of almost 70% for somewhere between 15 to 30% increase in performance. Now personally, I find it hard to pass up the 3600's bang for buck. How about you? Which of these two CPUs would you prefer and why? Hit us up in the comments below and let us know. Speaking of bang for buck, this video is brought to you by Dream PC. Dream PC is an elite custom PC builder right here in South Australia. They specialise in building your ideal PC, be it for gaming, 3D rendering, video editing, or even just browsing the web. They don't waste time with individual parts or phone chargers, just quality, powerful PCs with great warranty. So if you're wanting a custom built PC but don't know where to start, or maybe you just want a PC that works without risking bending pins or busting capacitors, then take a look at their website and configure your own today. It's as easy as ordering a pizza, but note they don't do pizzas. From build, testing and packaging, their real-time build tracker keeps you up to speed with what's happening at all times. With delivery anywhere in Australia, you too can have your very own Dream PC, so check them out today at dreampc.com.au.